Hey YouTube, this is James from Last Hard Games. I purchased this NES lot off of eBay. I managed to get the console with Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt, 6 controllers, 2 zappers, an NES Advantage, 4 RF adapters, and 1 power cable for $53. The whole lot is pretty dirty and yellowed. In this video, I'm going to focus on just the console and get it cleaned up. First thing is a test. While the game did not come on with the first try, it did eventually work with some fiddling. This tells me that the console works, it's just dirty. You can see how yellowed the console itself is. The original color is still under the front flap. Other than a few scuffs, the console is in decent enough shape. We'll start with flipping it over and removing the 6 screws from the bottom. After that, we can take off the top. There's dust in the whole thing. There's an RF shield covering the tray and board. We need to remove the 7 screws holding it down. Next, we take out 6 screws to remove the tray. Then we have 2 more screws by the power and video out ports. We can then lift the board and slide the tray off. The tray is really dirty right by the pins. We'll remove the connectors for the 2 controller ports and the power and reset switches. Then, the 72-pin connector slides right off. This is the main culprit for a blinking system. When these get dirty, there's not a good connection to the game, and the whole system blinks. The bottom shielding comes out, And then we can remove the power and reset switches. The fronts of these switches have yellowed too. Dirt and dust is falling out when I turn it over. There are 2 screws on the bottom to remove the front plate for the controller ports. There's the plate, and the ports slide out the front. Hopefully you can see all the gunk in the bottom of this. We'll stack up the parts we want to clean with some warm, soapy water. But there's a few more pieces we want to take apart on the lid. And the 2 black pieces on the lid can be unscrewed and separated. Last thing, I'll pull off the power and reset buttons to give them a wash as well. We'll throw everything into some warm soapy water. After soaking for a bit, let's give them a scrub. With all the plastic parts clean, we'll turn our attention to the electronics. We're going to start with the main board. I'm going to be cleaning with some 99% isopropyl alcohol. This stuff cleans really well and is safe to use with electronics. We'll give it a good scrub with a toothbrush and cotton swabs. Let's get some alcohol in the channel switcher and click it a few times to clean inside. Once the general board is clean, we'll give the contacts for the 72-pin connector some special attention. White erasers are great for gently cleaning off built-up grime on connectors like these. After scrubbing, we'll hit it with some more alcohol and brush and wipe off any residue. With the mainboard clean, we'll hit the controller ports and power switches with some alcohol and clean them as well. Finally, we'll tackle the real problem, a dirty 72-pin connector. There's some debris in here we'll take out, and then give the whole thing a scrub with alcohol and a toothbrush. With all the parts clean, we can do something about the yellowing. This process is called retrobrighting. Essentially, we're going to take some strong hydrogen peroxide, this is 12%, and soak the parts while hitting it with some UV light. I got this setup from Odd Experiments channel. You should check out his video on this process. We'll push the parts down and try to get all the air from underneath them to minimize floating. Then we turn on the UV LED strips and let the parts sit. And these are the results. The parts sat for 52 hours, so just over 2 days. I'm happy with the results. There's still a slight difference in the top from underneath the flap, but I think no one's going to notice unless they're really looking for it. With that, we can reassemble. The power and reset buttons go on and then back into the case. Next, we'll put back our controller ports. The shorter of the two is for player 1. And we put the faceplate back on. Making sure our cables are where they need to be, we can put the bottom shielding back in. Let's reattach the 72-pin connector to the board and drop it back into place. There's a connector on the bottom that slides into the shielding. With that back in, we can reattach the switches and ports. The tray slides right back into place. Then we screw in the tray with the 6 screws. The silver screws go in the middle holes on either side, and the brass ones go back into the other 4. Let's put the screws back near the power input. Then we can replace and reattach our shielding with the 7 screws. And with the bottom done, we can reassemble the top. We'll attach our rear black piece. Then place the front flap back into place and attach the second black piece. And finally, the 2 metal clips for the flap. And we complete the whole thing by putting the top back on the base. And like that, we're done. Let's give it a try. First time. And thanks for watching. Like if you enjoyed the video, and please consider subscribing for more.